Everybody, we do have Joe from the band Night Spirit here to talk with us tonight.
It's a
And
pleasure to be here.
so we just listened to the track Fire from Night Spirit. Tell me about that track a little bit. And
So,
then we'll get into the band and all that.
sure. So, Fire technically was the first song that I fully completed. Uh, it was the second song that I was sort of messing around with. I was going between a song that I had written and had parts mixed around, and then finally something hit me during a dream that I had for Fire. And once I had that dream, everything just clicked. The melody, the lyrics, and everything like that. The dream was a very vivid kind of dream. I've never had a vivid dream like that before in my life. So when I woke up, I said, wow, that was quite a sign to get right into this.
Oh, yeah. Do you remember the dream? Can you tell us about it?
I do. So I was in my high school auditorium. I was tied to a stake,
What the
and yeah, it's gonna
like a
get.
wooden pole or a sweet, juicy piece of meat?
Oh my gosh, if it was a sweet, juicy piece of meat, I'd be chewing through that. But unfortunately, it was like when witches got condemned. So I was tied to a stake. I had people next to me tied to the stake. They looked pretty beat up, and they were probably about to give up on life. And yeah, it was nasty. So I had this guy come up to me who looked a little bit like Julius Caesar with that little headdress. I forget the exact term for the headdress,
Is
the
that
leaf.
right? Is that an olive branch? Is that considered?
Yes, yes. So he came up to me. He gave me this dirty look, and he stabbed me in the ribs.
Holy fuck, he's
And
Caesared you.
like in my head in the dream, I was like, "What the fuck is this guy doing?" And then I just felt like so angry. Right? I started to I don't know, like rise up from everything. It's like I suddenly saw a lot of fire, I saw a lot of ice, I saw like angels and demons, right? And I just like was right in the middle of everything, and I just felt like so empowered by that.
Holy
I
shit.
woke up and I was like, yo, that is the start of something really cool. And I started writing down the lyrics because like I was going through a lot of stuff around that time. Like I had written this song. I started like when I was 20 something. I was just trying to find my sound because before Night Spirit, all I was doing was writing riffs, and
Okay.
it was a very dark alternative. And I knew that I needed something heavier that I wanted to put into my music. And this was like the first surefire sign that I was going in the right direction. I used my anger that I had within me into something positive. Because I mean, when you're in your 20s, I mean, yeah, you're an adult, but you don't know what the fuck you're doing. You know,
No, you don't have enough experiences lined up yet to.
no. I was in college. I was not doing too well because I was confused. I was originally a music major, and I changed my mind because I said, "Hold on a second. I don't need to be a music major to be a musician." You know what I mean? I could be doing other things, and I was being taught a lot of classical music. And during the time, I had some underlying health issues and I needed to address them. I had to get I had to get a major surgery done on
Okay.
my hip. So, like, I'm physically challenged. I walk with crutches and I've been like this my whole life. And
Yeah,
up until that,
we're
what's
gonna
that?
get into that for sure.
Yeah, okay. So, around that time, I just needed an outlet. And, I was never the kind of kid that would get into trouble or anything. I found my medium to channel what I was doing. So, I wrote this stuff and I said, wow,
And it's
this is definitely something to look into.
and it all started at that song.
Yeah, the completed song, yeah.
No shit. It's fucking deep, man.
Thank you. Thank you.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I love
Um,
it. So, let's talk about Night Spirit, man. How did Night Spirit come about?
well, so I started writing music probably around 14.
That young? What?
Yeah, yeah. I realized I had something that young when I joined choruses, even from the fifth grade. So when I was in fifth grade, someone introduced me to Metallica, and I said, "Oh,
All right, all right.
okay." It was the Black Album. So like,
Uh,
yeah, that's the album. Anytime you want to introduce someone to Metallica, the Black Album. That's the key album, in my
I
opinion.
guess it is something good to like catch, people that aren't already kind of into it.
Well, I mean, for a fifth grader, you know what I mean.
Oh
Someone
yeah, yeah, because the stuff's catchy until it sleeps, or no, that's not. Enter
well,
Sandman is what I meant to say. Sorry,
yes, yes,
but
Enter Sandman was it. Yeah,
yeah, that was the catchiest tune. That was the big one for me
yeah,
on the Black Album, I guess. Wherever I May Roam was my favorite.
and that was mine too until I heard of Wolf and Man, and then I said, "Oh, this
Okay,
is really,
nice.
really good."
It's
You know,
sad but true is on that too, right? That was a good track.
yes,
That was a good
Bad
track.
Holier Than Now. There are so many good tracks, and like the Black Album to me was the most accessible album because like previously you had Master of Puppets and I'm sorry, and Justice for All, and previous before that was Master of Puppets, all
Yeah.
produced by Fleming Rasmussen, and their songs weren't like they were very thrashy. When the Black Album came in, it was very accessible, very straight to the point. You had a new producer, and I guess I resonated with that. So, like in the fifth grade, I heard this band, and I said, "This really it speaks to me." So, like when I got into sixth grade, I joined the chorus, and I started discovering bands like Fear Factory, um, Typo Negative.
Ah.
Oh my gosh, I love Typo Negative.
Oh, they're
And
fucking fantastic. We were actually
yeah,
talking about them in chat earlier, I think.
oh my gosh, I miss them so
I
much.
know if I could bring back any one musician, Peter
Yeah,
Steele would be on the short list.
yeah, yeah. I mean, and a couple of the members from Typo Negative are in this brand new band that are just absolutely really cool. They came from Seventh Void. They're called Silvertomb, and it's just great stuff.
Silvertune, I'm going to write that down. You are educating me tonight, sir.
Oh my God. Listen, metal is a passion of mine. So, I mean, so
Yeah. Have you
when,
ever caught Carnivore AD?
you know, that was just slightly before me.
Oh no, they still played. They played the New York Death Militia annual like two
Oh
and a
no.
half years ago.
No, when I heard Carnivore, I was thinking like
Oh, you're talking
Peter
about
Steele.
original Carnivore. I'm talking about
Yeah.
Carnivore AD, which is
No.
basically I guess I don't know if it's a tribute band or not. I didn't look that much into it, but they play with like the same type of I guess vigor. The lead singer looks like a fucking replica. It
Oh
looks like
boy.
Pete Steele's little brother.
That's crazy.
Yeah.
That is so cool. I'm gonna have to check them out.
Yeah, Carnivore AD. They're playing right now. I mean, they play now currently. So
That's
I
that's
don't know if maybe it's some of the old members with a new vocalist or I don't know how it is. I'd have to look.
there's so much metal, and luckily, we live in New York. You're more upstate, right?
Yeah, more upstate, absolutely.
Okay. So I'm about 40 minutes from the city.
Okay.
So I go to shows when I can. And believe it or not, my first show was when I was in college. I was 19 years old, and
Wow.
it was Arch Enemy, and it was Evergrey at
So
Lemoore.
you're definitely younger than me, that's for sure.
I'm gonna be 37, and
Oh, you're not that much younger than me then.
no, no, I started really, really late with concerts.
Okay.
Um,
I turned
I,
38 on Monday.
Oh, happy
So
birthday.
we were the same age for a while, I guess. Well, oh no,
Yeah,
you're turning 37. Never mind. I take
I
it
am.
back.
We're around the same age.
Yeah,
It's
we're
not too,
close. We're close.
right. So, like, when I was in intermediate school, I found all these new bands because, like, in fifth grade, right, I was the only kid that I knew was wearing a leather biker jacket. And then my fifth grade son, who came in to hang out one day, was listening to this album. It was Black, and I said, "What are you listening to?" And he said, "Just listen to this." And then everything came out with the Black album.
Yep,
So
yep.
when I got into intermediate school, I said, "Okay, I think maybe I should start playing the guitar." And my mother and the rest of the family said, "Oh, it's going to be just a phase." Nope, not a phase.
Little did they know.
Little did they know. I started, getting some lessons. I started, coming up with some ideas, but nothing really came out in my mind until like the end of high school, because by the time I got to high school, now I found all these people that were into metal. I discovered, the gothic culture. I discovered all this stuff, and I started jamming out with bands, and I realized that in high school, people were still fucking fickle. They would play bands, they would break up, and I said, you know what? I'm just gonna write riffs here and there, and when the time is right, I'm gonna seek people out. Either that or they're gonna come to me, and everything is going to meld together. And I mean, years and years afterwards, like in 2013, that was the year that Night Spirit definitely started to manifest after I started writing, and emotions, and I was going through stuff.
Awesome, man. So it was that. You just had it fucking kind of all in the bag the whole time, and then
There was a lot of struggle because, like, in the beginning, like I said, it was dark alternative. Because like before metal, I was listening to bands like Veruca Salt, Smashing Pumpkins, some Soundgarden, and then on the other side of the spectrum, I was listening to Ace of Base. So, um,
oh my
yeah,
god, I was talking with somebody the other day about, I don't know, they got it stuck in my head, that fucking Ace of Base song. Oh, I hate
all
it
that
too.
all that she wants.
No, that's not the one. Maybe it
Oh,
is. Maybe no. I don't
I thought
fucking know.
that was a sign. Those were
The
the
Sign, that's the one. You got it.
Yeah, yeah. So I listened to them, and then I checked them out, and I I fell in love with the two lead singers. You had like this uh, dark-haired Swedish woman, then you had
Yeah.
Swedish. I said, "Oh my gosh, what is this? This is nuts." But eventually, what happened was the two bands that really, really turned the tide for me were Journey and Queen. And once I heard that stuff, then I got more into the metal, and then that's when
That was your bridge from, I guess you would call that stuff pop.
yeah, something though. My mother, God bless her, she loved the Dirty Dancing soundtrack, and she loved the oldies, and up until like 15, that's all that was being played. And finally, I said, "Ma, I love you, but come on, let's get a little bit more current here." So then came Madonna, then
Yeah.
came all these others, but along
And
the way I found Metallica,
yeah.
thankfully.
And then you were like, Ma, you got to check out this new track from Infinite Annihilator. Brrr.
Well, the thing about my mother is she she's really good with certain bands. Like, she knows who Metallica is, she knows who Typo Negative is. After a while,
Hell
after we
yeah.
got
Horns up, mama.
yeah, yeah, after a while, she figured out, okay, my son's not, gonna become this evil motherfucker, and he just likes the music, because that rebellious stage when you're a teenager, you're just,
Yeah, I was a goth. I was a goth, and
oh,
in a very rural school. It was
okay.
interesting.
Yeah, I'm sure. And her and I, we must have seen the Trans-Siberian Orchestra about 7 times.
Oh, they're fucking amazing though.
Oh yeah,
My
yeah.
God.
So my mother, God bless her, she knows how to get down.
That's awesome your mother went with you too. And that's a great band to bring your mother to.
Yeah, well, I mean, she's the one who introduced me to them.
Really?
Yeah, it goes to show you because
Dude, that is fucking awesome.
she would listen to a lot of WPLJ, Scott and Todd in the morning. I don't know if you have it out there, but it's
Uh,
like one of
who in the
the biggest.
morning?
Scott and Todd in the morning. It was like a
Oh, we have like a Bob and Tom kind of thing.
yeah, it was an early drive time show, huge, and they would always play them. And my mother said, I think that I have a band that you might really like. And she got the CD and she played it, and I said, wow, I am totally hooked.
Dude, that's awesome. Props to your mom, man, on that one.
Yeah, she is
The
so
the metal
supportive.
the metal community loves mothers like her.
Yeah, listen, she likes the vocals. So if you could, not have the aggression in the vocals, like it's a pass from her. So like
Keep them a
I
little clean.
right, like so she will listen to bands like Camelot and certain bands like that. She seems to go more towards the symphonic kind of metal when she
So
does.
so that being said, I do happen to know that you have a couple people in the band now in Night Spirit that have shared the stage with some symphonic bands,
Yes,
such as Within Temptation and Epic. I love Epica, by the way. Simone is
I
so
I
fucking beautiful.
she is really talented.
Oh,
Really,
absolutely. Cry for the Moon with the fucking my lord.
they're just one of those bands. Like I've never seen them live yet,
I haven't. They're
but
touring right now. They're
they are stupid
or
good.
no, I'm
I
thinking of someone else. Nightwish. Nightwish just came out with new shit.
right. Noise,
Yes,
something.
you are correct. Noise was the name of the track. I do
Yeah,
believe. Yep.
but
The single anyway they just released.
right. I've been a Nightwish fan for a while. Like my go-to Nightwish album is always Once.
Oh yeah.
But Floor, the lead singer now is just she is a powerhouse. And so my drummer used to be in Within Temptation and Epica. This was before they really blew up. This was like in their earlier days, like when
That's cool as shit though.
yeah, the guy who did my drums, Dennis, he was in Holland with all of them. And that's how, that started. Because, I mean, Holland isn't huge. And the metal community there, I imagine,
The metal community is bigger than the fucking country, I think.
yeah, but it's very compact.
Right.
So they, got together, and so the whole group sort of fell into my lap. Okay, so what I had done was right after I had finished writing a few songs, like literally, this was when I turned 30. Um, my grandfather had just passed away, and I was like, he was my father figure,
Mm-hmm.
and I had a lot of reality checks when he had passed away. He lived until like 93, 94. But like 30, I was struggling with like self identity. My self esteem was like not too good. A lot of skeletons from my closet had come out, like especially with me walking with crutches, me looking in the mirror and saying, am I really good enough? I started thinking about stuff with my biological father. And
Right.
eventually, what it came to be was I had to get another procedure done. And like, as soon as I got out of that procedure, I fell into this, I don't know, dark place. And the only thing that was my saving grace was I was taking music lessons. Okay. And my mother saw that I was sort of confused by a lot of things. And it so happened that, this wasn't even planned, but she sat me down one day. And every now and then she'll tell me this story about when I was younger, about how, when I was younger, I wasn't walking around the time where I should have been walking, and I wasn't even really crawling. And so what happened was she was on the phone, and I was playing probably with my He-Mans or G.I. Joes because obviously 80s baby, right?
Hell yeah. Hell
So
yeah.
she was on the phone, and I was hanging out playing with my toys, and I saw this toy, and it was out of my distance. So I tried getting her attention. My mother didn't hear me because she was on the phone, and I just kept calling, 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 and finally she said, "Oh my gosh, my son, let me get off the phone." And something inside her said, "No, let's see if he could crawl and get to that damn toy." It might have sounded mean, but up until that point, my mother was so confused because I was born with cerebral palsy, and at the time they didn't know too much about it, and I wasn't diagnosed until way later. So she saw me struggling to get this toy, and eventually what I did was I clawed at the rug,
Mm-hmm.
and I got that toy, and she just broke down and she cried and she said, "Maybe there is hope for my son. Maybe, he'll be okay. He's gonna be a fighter." Because she took me to faith healers. She took me all around Manhattan, and everyone gave her the same answer. Well, we don't know. He's probably, gonna be dependent all his life. And once she saw that, she started having faith in, like the inner power, which is something that I really, really go for today. So she told me this story, and every time she tells me this story, it's just I break down. It's
Yeah,
just one of those things. Yeah,
that's fucking awesome, man.
yeah.
So
There.
that'll hit you in the feels a little bit.
Oh yeah, yeah. There's, I don't know how to explain it, but there's just this bond between a mother and a son, and it's just maybe because if you're in a valley for 9 months, I don't know, but she tells me the story, and I said, okay, okay, something has to give here. And then literally a couple of days later, I went into my music lesson,
Mm-hmm.
and my teacher said, I've taught you everything that I possibly could teach you, and literally I'm quitting next month to get full throttle and get really serious within the studio because he owns a studio,
Okay.
and I'm becoming more involved there because it's becoming more demanding. You gotta step up to the plate. I know you have talent. Give me Let me work with you. So I thought about it. I went home with my mother and I had this conversation with her. I said, listen, this is something that I've been struggling, something that I've been fighting for all my life. We need to investigate this. And she said, do it. Just do it. And no sooner after that, we got in the studio, started writing some music, but at the time, it was like dark pop stuff. And it really wasn't clicking. And then finally, the guy said to me, well, let me hear some of your stuff. And I showed him my stuff, and he said, oh, okay, this is where we're at. So he said, okay, we're going to work with your songs because this is you. And right at that point, I said, well, I really don't know anyone that would play the music. I don't really. I sort of dropped out of that scene in high school. And Tony, the producer, he said, "Fear not. I have a good idea. A good idea." So Tony said, "I happen to have this great drummer who actually works at the studio. He's a drum technician. He does all the maintenance on the drums, and I think that he literally would, love and jump on the opportunity to do this. So I got to meet him, and I said, by the way, Dennis, who have you played for? Oh, I played for Epica and Within Temptation. What?
Jesus.
What is this? And I just started, going.
Like, hold on. What do you mean? Like the cover band or?
Yeah, yeah. So he heard my stuff, and he said, I dig this. I dig this. The next thing after I got him, I got Richie Castellano from Blue Oyster Cult, because
BOC.
yeah,
That's
and
fucking crazy, man. What a
he
Jesus.
lives like 10 minutes from me. Staten Island is such a small island. And I got him in the studio. He did his stuff, and then that's how everything started. They just put their spin on my music, and it's just amazing to have session musicians like that.
Yeah, that's fucking awesome, man. That is truly an inspiring story, man. And
Thank you.
I mean, just to tell that tale, I think that you inspire others, and that should mean something for sure.
Thank you. Thank you. And you know something? This is like my goal in life, because, like, man, it's just like music is like the universal language. You could be playing someone music, and they could not be speaking the same language. They could be from a different country, but they could understand, like, the emotion and the drive behind the music, and nothing else to
Absolutely,
be
man.
said.
We all music is like one of the only things that really can combine people from all over the fucking world.
And you're right.
And you can say that about really any type of music, but I
You're
will
right.
say this. Metalheads, man, metalheads are some of the fucking most wonderful, fucking giving, stick
Yeah.
together kind of people, man.
Passionate. Like, I often compare the metal crowd to the horror movie crowd, right? When you go to a horror movie convention,
Oh,
you know what I mean? I'm sure you know what I'm talking about, but it's like
absolutely.
it's a community, right? You look out for
We're
your brothers, you look out for your sisters, you make sure nothing fucking shady is happening,
that's right.
and you rock out. You know what I mean? And to me, I found that inspiring. And through what I do, I just want to inspire people, because, like, the next hoop after the music was done, my producer came up to me and said, all right, what are we going to do about your crutches? Do you want to hide them, or do you want to, have them be in the video? And I said, you know something? Fuck this. I am going to have them on my mic stand. That was an idea from my friend, and I loved it, because who am I, right? I'm not gonna fucking hide. This is who I am. It's not. It doesn't dictate who I am. It's a part of me. I've married it. I've grown to love it and accept it, and I'm not gonna let that fucking hold me back, right? You know what I mean? This is my life. I'm in control, and I fly. And this is how the things have to go. That's how it has to be.
That's fucking perseverance right there. And I think a lot of people and a lot of the community of metal people could learn something like that. That whine about all the little stuff, and here
You
you
know,
are with a condition like cerebral palsy, and you're fucking pushing through it, and you're fucking making it happen, and you're stomping the shit out of stuff.
thank you. You know, man, it took me 30 years to figure that out. As soon as I realized that my gift was manifesting and growing wings, I said, you know something? This is what I was born to do. Because, like, so many people, like, literally as a kid, they'd see my crutches, they'd see this stuff. Oh, poor kid, poor kid. No, I'm not a fucking poor kid. One day I'm going to grow up, I'm going to grow a pair of balls, and I'm going to do what the fuck I need to do. And that was my wake up call at 30.
That's fucking awesome. That's good to hear.
And that's the dream. Thank you, to just inspire people through my music, seeing how I am, and eventually when I release the new album with the comic book, then everything is going to come to life. Then people are really going to understand what I've been fighting for and what I've been pushing for all this while.
Oh yeah, and I was gonna ask you about that. So you guys have an EP out right now called
Yeah.
Eclipse.
Yes.
Is that all? Is that the catalog currently?
That is,
That
those are the
that's the
only four
music.
songs. Right. So you on that EP, you had Richie Castellano on guitars and bass. You had Dennis Leafling on the drums. You had Tony Hampson producing and background vocals. You had Timo Somers from Delane who did some guest solos, and you had me.
Well, the album is fucking amazing, guys.
Thank you. Thank
Yes,
you.
absolutely. I'm gonna put a link in, and you can actually go right to. Hold on, let me see.
YouTube.
Nightspirit.net, and
Yes.
let me put it right in. Music. That EP you are giving for free download, correct?
Yes, yes. My ideology behind this is, I want people to get to know me. Night Spirit is my thing. It's my,
It's your
who I
baby. It's your baby.
it is, but it's also something, it's my essence.
Okay.
So I want people to understand a little bit of where I'm coming from because, when this new album that I'm working on comes out, it's a fucking monster.
And that was my question. So you're doing the comic book as well. Are you both illustrating and writing?
Oh, I can't draw for shit. I can't draw my way out of a paper bag.
Okay.
I can't even draw a stick figure right. So what I did was around the time of right before doing the video for Fire,
Hmm.
I sat down with my producer and I sat down with someone who does music videos, and they said, "Well, Joe, what do you want to do for your music video? We know that you have an imagination." So I spent 5 minutes telling them this whole fucking story, and they said, "Well, we're going to be honest with you. That is so not in your budget. That is like that is like twice as much as you need, and I don't think that's a good idea for the first music video." So I said, I want to tell this story, but I can't do the music video. And I started thinking, oh shit, I could do comics. So what I did was I went to New York Comic Con that following year, and I started doing homework. I started looking at artists, and I came up with like a short list of certain people, and I went up to their tables. And one person I went up to, his name is Eric Hutchison from Imbion Studios. As soon as I saw the guy, I knew it. I knew it. We started talking. He resonated with my ideas. I resonated with his, and I knew that he was the guy. So literally, he was the guy that did the whole comic book. He saw my vision, echoed it, and added his spin into it.
That's fucking awesome, man. So
Yeah,
is the comic book is it pretty well along?
yeah. Everything actually is pretty well along. The
Along with
comic
the album? I'm
was
sorry
that?
to cut you off. That how about the album?
Yeah, everything is pretty pretty far into it. About to go into the mixing stage.
Oh wow. So when are you expecting to release?
To be completely honest with you, I just want things to be where they should be. The longest part of an album is mixing and then mastering. So all of this
It
stuff has
can
to
be
be
for the good stuff.
right. Well, I'd like to think that this is some good stuff.
Oh,
So, luckily, the people that are mixing the album and mastering it are taking their time to just do that. While that's happening, I also have Eric finishing off the comic book, and then he's gonna go fine tooth and comb, and everything will be done really soon, because I started promoting this 2 years ago at a New York Comic Con.
Oh, wow.
Like, I would go to New York Comic Con. After I met Eric, I started exhibiting, and I got pop after pop after pop. And, I said, wow, I better really take my time with this, and I better not throw out some shit.
Right, right.
You know what I mean? Because first
Yeah,
off, I'm not.
you're not looking for Night Spirit to be one of those bands that just throw a bunch of shit at the wall and see what sticks.
No, no, because again, I found the first phase of Night Spirit's identity after, a few songs. And I just want this to be right. A lot of them love horror. They love comic books.
Absolutely.
They
I should mention while you're talking about that, directly after me at 10 p.m. Tonight Eastern is a horror podcast that we now have
Ooh.
on craniumradio.com. I used to just be able to like go forever, and but now 10 o'clock's my official cutoff, unfortunately.
I got you. I got you. Are you into horror?
I'm not huge into horror. I guess I got out of it because I'll tell you a quick story. I'll make it super quick. Um, Zombie movies have always been a thing, and all my buddies and all that stuff, they all love zombie shit.
Yeah.
I
Okay.
can watch zombie movies, it's fine. I get fucking night terrors, like
Really?
just nightmares beyond belief when I watch anything zombie related.
I was never a zombie guy. I was more of anything but zombies. Like, I'm a big vampire guy. I'm a
I do love vampire stuff. I absolutely fucking adore actually the whole vampire culture, really.
Yeah, and even werewolves. So, like, with this comic book that I'm doing, I am very influenced by supernatural action. Like, think Witchblade, Spawn, Underworld, Sandman. If you have checked out that comic book series,
Okay.
just all that stuff. And, I know what my audience likes.
Oh yeah, man. Um,
So,
I I do want to wrap this up, Joe.
yeah,
We got some music we got to get to, and I got to talk to JD. What I'd love to do is definitely have you back on air
thank
because
you.
I don't think that we hit everything that I wanted to hit, and maybe you have more to say. And
Well,
and that's something to say after 45 minutes. Like, hey man, I want to talk to you plenty more, my man.
thank you. I really appreciate that. I'm glad to be on your show. I'm very grateful.
Oh man, I'm grateful to have you here, man. It's guys like you that inspire the rest of us to just kind of do our thing. I'm not playing instruments or talking into excuse me, singing into a microphone. I talk into one plenty, but
That's my goal, man. Thank you. That speaks
yeah.
birds, man.
So your stuff is great. I think we're gonna try and get her. Well, we'll get her into auto rotation here on
Thank you.
Cranium Radio, and I want to come back and definitely have you back on and do a whole nother segment because I think we got plenty more to talk about.
It would be
And
my pleasure, man.
yeah, and just maybe to get into some of the cool nitty gritty stuff, maybe some of the horror stuff. And I know you're a big comic fan,
I am.
and I just want to poke your brain a little bit on that stuff, man.
Yo, I'm all for it, man. Thank you.
Awesome. Yeah, I'm gonna post your Facebook stuff up in the info.
Thank you.
Yep. And this next song that we're gonna play is "This Blessing or Curse." Do you have anything to say about that track?
So that track was a real personal one for me. It was basically my grandfather. He would always tell me as a kid, you have two strikes against you. Meaning, he came from an old school thought, and he thought that me not having a father and me having a physical challenge, because that's all it is, it's a physical challenge,
Right.
would really make things very difficult for me. So I had written a song saying that, it's my life, and I could take it as either a blessing or a curse. And obviously, the path that I took.
That's fucking cool, man.
Thank you.
And I'm glad I picked this track to kind of sum up our night tonight. I'm gonna get with you
Yeah.
afterwards, and then yeah, we'll set something up. man. Anything else you want to say? Anything you want to plug
I
before we
am
wrap this up for tonight?
I am so grateful for everyone that enjoys Night Spirit, new fans, old fans. And I just, I hope I inspire the living fuck out of you. And in September, I will be doing a convention at a panel about using your creativity to get through boundaries.
That's fucking awesome. That sounds absolutely amazing.
Thank
And
you.
that's the kind of thing that I wouldn't mind having a recording of and something to play, on the air and do. But anyway, another time.
Yeah, we'll talk, man. Thank you so
Yeah,
much.
absolutely. Thank you again, Joe, for coming on. Man, I'm more inspired now than when I picked up the phone to call you.
Good, man. Go kick some ass.
Fucking right, man. And it's Friday the 13th.
Amen.
Hell yeah, heavy metal and Jason killing teenagers having sex in the woods.
That's right.
All right, everybody, this is Night Spirit, the blessing or the curse. Their socials are going to be linked in the chat room. Go ahead and click on that. Give them a like. Go to craniumradio.com on the left-hand side of the screen. We have a merchandise tab. Check that out. And once again, thank you, Joe. Check this
Thank you.
track out. You are tuned into craniumradio.com.